Right, welcome everybody. Commentator's Curse once again. It's a big topic actually. It's fixing corruption, whatever you want to call it, and it's because of what's happened to Shakib Al Hasan. He did not report, and there were 3 approaches over a period of time, 2 years, 2.5 years, or whatever it was. All that sticks in my mind is that it was a long time. Rambo, why don't you kick us off and tell us what you think, first of all, of the sanction of 2 years with one of those suspended?
I think it's just about right. But before we begin on this topic, just to recap the subcontinent mindset of a superstar, because as we all know, players, superstars are pampered here, spoiled by fans, by the sponsors. So you develop this air of invincibility that anything that you can touch can turn into gold. And so unless you have a good net of friends with you, a good net of family members maybe, who can tell you that, look, with responsibility, with power comes restraint. And so you've got to be more responsible, whatever you want to do. And I think unless it's hammered into your mind, and unless you have this good net of friends and family members, you can go haywire. And that is exactly what happens to most of the superstars actually at times, because they can then disregard the protocols. They can easily feel that they're above the game. They can walk away with so many things that normally a cricketer from the Western world would dare not to. And I think this has been happening more regularly in subcontinent environment, unfortunately. And Shakib has been penalized for all the right reasons, because, you know, being the superstar of the game, he had responsibility towards it. And to then give his WhatsApp number to a bookie, just unbelievable.
Yeah, there is a Mafia as well. Mikey, I'm coming to you here, having been involved in the game the longest. Give us your kind of thoughts on the corruption and on this saga, which has been ongoing for a long time as far as the game is concerned, even though underground.
Yeah, it's a thorn in the side of all cricket lovers and cricketers. You know, it's a difficult one though in a point, because if you notice, throughout the different episodes, throughout the different sagas, and throughout the different suspensions that cricketers have been getting, bookmakers and the people involved with the gambling and the betting, they have been named. They are well known. If you remember, Pomme, when we went to that meeting before the ICC World Cup in England, the gentleman addressing us, we won't go into names and whatever, but the gentleman addressing us told us that he had spoken or written to all the bookmakers and told them to stay away from the ICC World Cup. Now, if they are that well known, why can't anything be done about them? Why can't they be prosecuted in some way? I just don't understand. I am not a lawyer. I don't know the legalities behind it, but they are known. And I think that is where we have to tackle the situation. We can't just keep on suspending cricketers, because as we know, even if it's 1 out of 100 cricketers that gets tagged, we don't need that. We don't need the 1 out of the 100. If we had no bookmakers, if we had no match fixers, you wouldn't have any cricketers being suspended, because there would be no one approaching them, and they wouldn't have to be strong, as people are saying, to turn them down. I don't think they need to be strong to turn them down. I think they just need to recognize exactly what they are doing to turn them down. But at the same time, if there are no approaches, there's no need for anyone to turn them down. And I think that is where it has to be tackled, not at the situation where the cricketers are getting suspended.
I think it's a tough ask, isn't it, Tommy, for the ASU? I mean, ACU. It's a tough one for the anti-corruption unit, and I personally think they do a terrific job. They've obviously got 3 situations with Shakib. Now, look, who are we to say there's more? I would say there's probably a lot more as far as Shakib's concerned. There's probably a lot more as far as some of the other players are concerned. But it's tough to actually nail them down and really say that this is exactly what happened. They get phone numbers, all of those things. Now, Shakib has done completely the wrong thing. And is it a coincidence that I look back on Shakib's list of teams that he's played for in other franchise tournaments, and the money that he was paid 4 and 5 years ago compared to the money that he's now paid in some of these tournaments, and some of the tournaments that he's not even asked and not even approached to play in. Now, here's a guy who was the #1 all-rounder in world cricket, yet a Ben Stokes goes for 12 million and Shakib goes for less than $1 million in an auction. In an
IPL you're opening up a big can of worms there.
Well, hey, I'm just saying, teams have steered clear of him. Teams have steered clear of him in the last few years.
We've lost Dooley.
Do they know something? And that's a bit of a, that's something that I look at with this whole situation and think, do players, do coaches, do franchises know more at this point in time? So that's why I just think what the ACU do is a terrific job, but it's very, very difficult for them to actually nail anyone, whether it be a player, whether it be a bookmaker or anyone. And their hands are tied by laws in different countries, by gambling laws around the world as well. And so their hands are completely tied with a lot of the stuff that goes on. And, it's a really, really harsh situation. I don't think he got a long enough ban. I think he should have been banned for a lot longer. He's a world-renowned player. They get warned at every tournament they go to. They get told the rules. He knows the rules. He knew the rules. And 1 year suspended sentence of another year, I don't think it's enough. He knew all the consequences. He knew all the rules. And he should be gone for a lot longer.
Yeah, I tell you what, I was surprised at the ban, to be honest. I was surprised at the fact that 1 year was suspended. I was surprised that it was only 1 year that he'd have to serve. I was surprised that it was 2 years in its totality, simply because of how long the kind of courting seemed to go on, that he kind of was in contact with this guy. And somewhere along the line, he says, I thought he was dodgy. You thought he was dodgy, but then you didn't go and tell anybody.
There's more to it than meets the eye. There's more to it than meets the eye.
There must be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can have sympathy for a guy if it's a first offence and he's not too sure whether he should or shouldn't, because he might be a mate and thinks, well, actually maybe it wasn't a proper approach. But when it goes down to 2-3 times and it's over a period of time, and as Dooley says, and everyone's brought to the awareness of what's going on at every single event, and they're discouraged about doing these kind of things, and they're fully educated. If it was a guy who's just coming to the national scene as well, then maybe he hasn't quite got the education. But Shakib's been around forever. So, I think he'll be disappointed. They're very disappointed for Bangladesh. I mean, they always have to try and fight above their weight, and now going to these big events without him, who's a massive player for them. So it's a double whammy for them.
Yeah, but for cricket, more than anything else. I mean, as I look at it anyway, and I look and think, if there is a player in the game, and as Mikey said, you don't want any player to be involved. But if there is a player in the game that gets involved or gets hooked, you don't want it to be the main player in a side. You don't want to be one of the top players in world cricket. That's what I think I'm baffled by. I guess, in essence, money is money and temptation is temptation, and anybody is going to do any of these things. And
for me, I am so convinced, and this has been my stance, because Pakistan have suffered a lot through this match fixing and all that, this kind of through rogue elements. My take on this is as following. Just imagine a scenario like Asif Ali. Now, Asif Ali played PSL when his daughter was battling with a bout of cancer. And he was playing for his side because A, he loved the game, and B, he wanted to win. And then sadly, the little poor soul passed away. And then he rushed to join the Pakistan cricket team, because he wanted to play for the country, only because he loved the game. And just imagine a scenario, how would he thought if there was a rogue or two in the team trying and sort of getting hooked on by a bookie, and both looking for a fantastic fall for the side. I mean, it's just not right with the kosher players who play for the side, who play for their country, and who play the game because they love it and go through a lot. I mean, my son was, I still remember this, was 4 weeks old when I went to Australia and New Zealand for a tour of 4 months. When I came back, he was almost 5 months old. So I lost the initial years of my kid. And that is what you go through when you're playing for your country. You know, you love this game so much. You sacrifice for your family, for friends. I mean, you reconnect with the rest when you come back, and it is difficult to reconnect because you've lost track of how long you've been away from home and from friends, just because you love this game and want to play for your country. And here, there are a couple of guys who want to spoil the fun for everyone.
Do you reckon a bigger ban each time would deter players at all? And what I was saying was, money is money, temptation is temptation. So at present, with the 2-year ban, I look at it and I go, well, if you are 26 years old, 27 years old, perhaps a little bit older as well, depending on which country you play for, and if you know it's only going to be 2 years, it's not really a deterrent, because there's a catch, isn't there? You're going to make a packet of money, or you're going to get caught and you're going to lose out in a couple of years, but you'll be able to come back. But if it's like 5 years, then you're gone.
Gentlemen, if we notice what took place in South Africa recently with the Australian team, the ICC's ban was discarded by Cricket Australia. They decided that what the ICC said was not enough, and they went far beyond with their suspension. Now the ICC's bans, as we can see, are nothing. They wrap people on the knuckles. It's up to the individual boards then to decide, well, this gentleman plays for me. I'm going to decide what his ban is, and they can extend it. I think the Bangladesh board should have taken it upon themselves to say, how can someone scratch a ball and get the same sentence as someone who is talking to bookmakers? And even if he did not get involved, thinking about getting involved with match fixing. It can't be equal punishment. But obviously, Bangladesh Cricket Board don't want to take it upon themselves. They want to,
and I think
they can down the road and allow the ICC to do whatever.
And the timing was right, because wasn't he part of the guys who complained about all the scenarios going on in Bangladesh cricket?
He was at the forefront.
If they wanted to fight back, it was the opportunity for them to make it 3 or 4.
Yeah, true.
We have to make the punishment that harsh that people just do not want to get involved.
Yeah.
I mean,
a small punishment and they know they can get back.
Yes, especially for somebody like Shakib, who's played the game, you know, he's played all the cricket leagues in the world. So there's extra responsibility for him to be a little mature and to be a role model.
Yeah, he's also captain the side, hasn't he?
True, yeah. And he was supposed to be captain going to India for both the sides, actually, Test match and the 2020 side. I'm just thinking to South Africa, where in recent times, Ghulam Bodi, who was involved, has just been sentenced to, I think it's 5 years in prison. And this is from a legal perspective. It's not Cricket South Africa who are sanctioning him or who are punishing him. It's actually the law. Is it different, therefore, in the subcontinent, guys, that bookmaking is not legal? And so why are they not prosecutable, these guys?
Well, Dooley said something earlier on saying that it is very difficult with ACU, the anti-corruption unit of the ICC, when it comes to the different gambling laws around the world. No, gambling laws and laws of court laws around the world should not prevent someone who has committed a crime from being prosecuted. That's the simple way I see it. And I go back to the fact that the cricketers are always the ones being punished, and no one has ever tried, or well, maybe I shouldn't say they have never tried. We haven't seen any bookmakers or any instigators from outside the game who are trying to disrupt our game and to spoil what's going on being prosecuted. And I think that's where most of the effort should be going into, prevent these people from targeting our cricketers.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Mikey. I think the hard thing on that front is that the guys that sit right at the top of the chain are very rarely seen, and very rarely are the ones that are doing the approaching. There's the minnows, there's the next 2 tiers, 3 tiers, 4 tiers down the line and they are a dime a dozen. And I think that's probably the unfortunate side of it. They're almost, as you would know in horse racing terms, they're the runners. The guys who approach are the runners, and the guys that sit at the top are never really the ones in trouble. I guess it's the same with the guys that might be around the world dealing drugs. The ones that sit at the top of the tree are never the ones that are actually handing over the drugs or dealing the drugs. It's the runners that get in trouble and the runners that go to jail. And you know, those guys are a dime a dozen, unfortunately, aren't they?
But Dolly, in cricket, the runners aren't going to jail. No one is going to jail.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah,
that's the point. And I suppose it is a question of, are the hands of the ACU tied in terms of getting to those guys? Can they not join with law enforcement to ensure that as they seek them out, as they find out information, as you said, Mikey, they told us who the people were, that, you know, the law can't try and find them and actually prosecute them.
Well, in England, they can. In the UK, they can. In New Zealand, they can. In the subcontinent, they can't. And that's where the ACU have their hands tied. And as I say, I mean, it's probably in the ICC or the ACU, and I certainly have. But I actually think when I look at it and when I read through this, that they do a good job, but their hands are tied so often that it's almost impossible for them to do their job as they would want to do their job. And when I talk to some of these guys around the world at different tournaments, and I know I've been to a couple of the what you would call the slightly lesser tournaments on the world stage, and talk to the ACU guys, and they're always looking. They've got their eyes on everything, and they see what goes on, but they can't do anything about it on so many occasions. And I think that's the shame of it, and that's where perhaps some of the countries need to get in behind it a little bit more. And say, well, okay, we will support anything that happens, and we will support any sign of corruption, and we will actually throw the book at these guys to try and a game that we all love.
So the other problem is that in Asia and subcontinent, there's so many other stuff to deal with, and just fixing issues as the most important thing that is affecting their lives. So I think that's the other thing. Yeah, it's slow.
So
you don't think
we must just accept this?
Yeah, I just think there should be a push to get more information out. I mean, just get an understanding of exactly what's going on and what they've found. Because what we always get is we get these instances and they give us a little bit of information as to why this person's been banned or what the information is. But there's so much more information that they're privy to. And there's so many more. I mean, without naming people, because obviously it's discrimination and defamation of character and all those different kind of things. But surely there should be more information given to people to know exactly what they have or haven't found. I think that's in lies. Or just to educate, not I'm saying educated players, because they've been through all the protocol and they should know, but actually with regards to some of the people that have been investigated, for example, just so that it's more of a deterrent. Because if you see, hey, hold on, there's 5 players and there's a couple of people, runners, or if we want to call them that, they've been investigated, then we're privy to understanding that there's more on the go and that people will come more watchful.
Yeah,
I think the possibility with that, gents, I think the possibility with that, Polly, is that if they give out too much information, people may then know how they access the information that they have.
Yeah.
And then they might change their method or they change their route or whatever. So I think they give out as little as possible, but as much as they need to give out to justify their actions.
Yeah, but their actions are not particularly effective. So at present, and I say that with all due respect, I'm not saying they do nothing. I'm just saying, you know, whatever these bookies are doing, they're managing to get to players. I mean, it's not a small thing, as far as I'm concerned, for them to be able to get to the #1 Bangladesh player. And I know Bangladesh won't be sort of highest in terms of hierarchy of players and pay and whatever, but Shakib Al Hasan has made a lot of money in cricket, being #1 all-rounder, playing around the world and all the rest. So if they can get to Shakib Al Hasan, spare a thought for whoever is #11 on the list in Bangladesh's in Bangladesh terms, in their team, in their contracts, in their system. so they can get to him comfortably if they
You see,
actually
Pommy,
try and do it.
you know, I was part of an era where all hell broke loose regarding fixing and all for about 2 years. In fact, I was installed at Pakistan captain just to eradicate this mess. And so I was told by the players themselves that at times they had to engage the bookie. It was the other way around. It wasn't as if the bookies, just because, you know, they developed this lust for more money, and it was easy money. It was bowling a no ball, it was bowling a leg side ball, it was bowling a white ball, you know, little things. And because you feel that you have arrived and you're the best player in the world and that you can demolish the protocols, you can do anything in this world. And so you get into that mindset. But I was so shocked when I was told that it was the other way around at times. That when nothing was happening, they would go and engage the bookie that, look, we are ready and available. Why aren't you doing something?
It's like a drug. It's like a drug, Rummies, isn't it? I mean, yeah, but it's like a drug. It's like walking into a betting shop and having your first winner, and never being able to step out of that betting shop again. It's like having your first taste of a drug, of a wine, a beer, and wanting more and more and more. And I think I don't condone it, but I understand why it happens, and I understand how it happens, and I'm not sure how we ever eradicate it from our game. But with Ramiz, I mean,
stiff punishments, Dooley. Stiff punishments.
I think you're right, Mike. Yeah, and they have to be so stiff that sometimes it actually seems ridiculous to deter people, and sometimes that's the only way.
Yeah, well, 2 years is not going to do it.
No.
Yeah, bans from the game might do it. You know, if you're told, right, if you get, and perhaps this is the way to go. I don't know. Throw it out there. Get banned from the game totally. So this is your avenue to try and make money by fixing, by whatever. And if you're found to do it, we don't want it in the game. And there is no amount that's acceptable. So just because you bowled a no ball or you bowled a wide down the leg side, or you told a bookie who's playing, it's no less than anything else. It influences the game. It therefore attracts more of these guys. So I reckon a ban. Just get out the game. Get out the system.
But you see, the problem in subcontinent especially is that then how to deal with the emotional fans.
Doesn't matter about the fans. You've got to tell them that nobody's allowed to fix. If someone's caught fixing, and it's proven, the fans surely must understand that you're not allowed to do that. Away you go.
I mean, in Shakib's case, there are about 1,000 fans outside his home chanting, "Shakib, we are with you." You know, that's the thing that worries me, because they put so much of pressure on the cricket boards. Then they're not pushed really into deciding the fate for such a sinner once and for all. Hence, the reason why so many players who have sinned have made a comeback in the system, in the circuit.
Yeah.
And that's the sad thing. I look at a guy in New Zealand, okay, Lou Vincent, who sat in the Chris Cairns trial. He's banned for life. Now what he did was completely wrong, but he ended up admitting it. He admitted his faults, but banned for life. Muhammad Amir is going to jail term and is back playing international cricket.
Yeah.
Shakib gets 1 year with suspended. Lou Vincent can't even go and watch a kid's game of cricket at a ground. If one person complained about him being at a school game of cricket, if one person complained about him being at school, he would be evicted from the ground. Now, here's a guy who did wrong and ended up opening up and saying, yes, I did do it. I took money. This is what I did. This is how it all worked. But he can't go and watch a game. Can't step foot into a cricket ground for life. Yet we've got guys who have fixed on the international stage and blatantly cheated the fans on an international stage who are still playing international cricket. How is that fair?
That's a stiff ban. That's a stiff punishment, as Mikey was saying. There's a stiff punishment for you.
Well, that punishment that Lou Vincent got, do you think that has any effect on the rest of the New Zealanders doing it?
Yeah.
Them seeing that, I'm absolutely sure they wouldn't think of repeating.
100%, Mikey, 100%. And I think his punishment is, I don't know whether it's absolutely fair, but he's a guy that should be talking, in my opinion, he's a guy that should be talking and being used by the ACU and used by the ICC to talk to young cricketers about how it happened, because he actually opened up about the whole thing. He's a guy that should be talking to all of these under-19 tournaments, under-17 tournaments, about what happened to him, how it happened, what he went through, what he did, what he was asked to do, all of these things.
Don't fall into this trap.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have any of you gents ever been approached? Just as a...
I played too long ago, Pommy.
Yeah, didn't approach you guys then?
Yeah,
No?
I mean, it wasn't fashionable then. It wasn't in vogue. It was, you know, and I personally wasn't such a great player to be offered something like this. You know, only the great players are offered the
They didn't have to ask me for me to bowl a wide or two. I just did it on my own.
There's only one guy left.
No. Yeah, nothing from my side. But I think for me, the biggest frustration, and I'm sure you guys are the same, but you'd have heard as you go around where people say, oh, we've got information on them, but we just can't pin it on them. I think for me, those are the real ones where you think, well, if we could just pin a few more of these kind of scenarios and the information that they do gather onto individuals, you know, that would be a massive deterrent. Because what happens is it happens once in a while that someone gets done. Whereas if it happened on a regular basis, it would be even more of a deterrent, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's where it ended, guys. Yeah, we can end it there. It's a sorry subject. It's a thorn in the side of cricket. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. That ban of Shakib, perhaps all of you out there can tell us what you think. Is it enough of a ban? Is he not guilty according to some of you? Would he never be guilty? Are fans, as Rambo says, you know, blindly following their superstars that they wouldn't pin blame on them? You tell us. Okay, cheers for now.